let me start by giving you a fact. Did you know that nearly 60% of Americans believe in some form of afterlife or life after death? That's a lot of people wondering what's really out there. There must be something out there, right? Today, we're diving into two terrifying horror stories that will leave you questioning the existence of an afterlife. From mysterious encounters with the dead to unexplained events that defy explanation, these spine-tingling tales will send chills down your spine. The idea of an afterlife has been a topic of discussion for centuries, with many of us trying to figure out what lies beyond the grave. From near-death experiences to ghostly apparitions, there are countless stories that have left us wondering if there's more to life than what we can see and touch. But what if I told you that there are some experiences that are so bizarre, so unexplained, that they might just make you question everything you thought you knew about the afterlife? Here we present to you two horror stories that will leave you shaken, and wondering if they're based on fact or fiction. From haunted video captures to paranormal activity, these stories will take you on a journey that will leave you sleeping with the lights on. So, if you're ready to face the unknown, then let's get started. But wait, there is a catch. One of these two stories is true whilst the other is totally made up by us. Which is which? Which is myth and which is reality? Only you can decide. Stay till the end to find out if you're right. So, all that's left for you to do is to sit back, relax, and get ready to explore the darker side of reality. Is the afterlife real? You decide. But be warned, don't watch this video alone. Story number 1. The Haunting of Bobby Mackey's Music World, the Ghost Boy of Wilder, Kentucky. In the heart of Wilder, Kentucky, nestled amidst the backdrop of rolling hills and lush greenery, stands Bobby Mackey's Music World, a lively nightclub and music venue that beckons to those seeking an evening of entertainment. The neon lights flicker in the twilight, casting an inviting glow over the entrance, yet within its walls lies a history shrouded in darkness and mystery. Originally built as a slaughterhouse in the late 1800s, the site has witnessed countless tragedies. The echoes of its grim past linger in the air, leaving an unsettling residue that seems to cling to its very foundation. Tales of betrayal, murder, and even accusations of witchcraft have intertwined with the venue's legacy, creating a narrative that is as haunting as the spirits said to inhabit it. Among the spectral inhabitants is the spirit of a young woman named Joanna, whose tragic tale fuels the legends surrounding the establishment. In the early 1900s, Joanna fell deeply in love with a man who ultimately spurned her affections. Heartbroken and desperate, she took her own life within the very building that had once brought her joy. Her sorrowful spirit is said to wander the halls, searching for her lost love and seeking retribution against those who wronged her. But Joanna is not the only ghost haunting Bobby Mackey's Music World. Whispers of a ghostly child, a figure known as the Ghost Boy, have echoed through the venue for decades. Patrons and staff alike report sightings of a small child with a playful demeanor, often darting through the shadows and leaving behind the sound of distant laughter. He is believed to be the spirit of a child who met a tragic end within the building, forever trapped in a world he can no longer understand. As stories of these hauntings began to circulate, paranormal investigators took notice, eager to explore the venue's supernatural claims. In 2007, a crew from the popular TV show Ghost Adventures arrived to investigate the chilling phenomena that had captivated the public's imagination. Armed with cameras, EMF detectors, and a thirst for the unknown, the team prepared to delve into the heart of the haunting. As the sunset and darkness enveloped the venue, the investigators set up their equipment. Initially, the atmosphere seemed calm, the laughter of patrons ringing out in the background. But as the night wore on, a palpable tension began to build. The temperature dropped dramatically, and an eerie stillness filled the air. The crew exchanged nervous glances, sensing that something unseen was watching them. Suddenly, a frigid breeze swept through the room, causing the investigators to shiver. Whispers echoed from the shadows, soft yet unmistakable. The crew knew they were not alone. They gathered their courage and ventured deeper into the building, hoping to capture evidence of the supernatural. As they moved through the dimly lit rooms, one investigator felt an inexplicable pull toward a darkened corner of the bar. She turned her camera toward the area, her heart racing with anticipation. What happened next would leave them in awe. A fleeting figure darted across the frame, a small shadow, the unmistakable outline of a child. Gasps erupted from the crew as they reviewed the footage. Was this the elusive Ghost Boy? The excitement in the room was palpable, as the investigators realized they had captured something extraordinary. The figure vanished almost as quickly as it had appeared, leaving behind an air of mystery. Over the following weeks, more paranormal teams flocked to Bobby Mackey's, each eager to uncover its secrets. One group reported hearing children's laughter echoing through the hallways, while another claimed to have felt a gentle tug on their clothing as they explored the bar area. Staff members recounted their own eerie encounters, moments when they felt the unmistakable presence of a child nearby, even in the absence of living companions. One bartender shared her experience of closing up for the night, the sounds of clinking glasses and lively music fading as the last patrons trickled out. As she wiped down the tables, she heard a soft giggle behind her, light and playful. When she turned around, the room was empty. Shaking off her unease, she resumed her work, but the giggle returned, this time louder, almost mischievous. Heart racing, she grabbed her belongings and fled the bar, convinced she was not alone. Intrigued by these encounters, a local paranormal investigation team decided to conduct an extensive examination of the site. They arrived with an arsenal of equipment, EVP recorders, infrared cameras, and motion sensors, ready to uncover the truth behind the haunting. As they split up to cover more ground, strange occurrences began almost immediately. In the back room, one investigator reported hearing the distinct sound of footsteps approaching, yet when he looked up, no one was there. The air felt thick, charged with an energy that made the hairs on the back of his neck stand on end. He pressed on, determined to uncover the source of the unease. Meanwhile, in another area of the building, a different investigator captured something unexpected on camera. As she reviewed the footage, her heart raced. There it was again, a small figure darting past the end of the hallway, just like the previous crew had witnessed. The footage confirmed the ghostly presence of the child, leaving the team stunned. As the investigation continued, they began to communicate with the spirits. Using their EVP recorders, they asked questions, hoping to elicit responses from the other side. To their astonishment, the devices picked up faint voices, whispers that sent chills down their spines. "Help me," one voice pleaded, while another called out, "Mommy." Determined to uncover the truth, the investigators delved deeper into the history of Bobby Mackey's music world. They learned that the spirit of Joanna was not alone in her sorrow. Other tragic figures had met their untimely ends on the property, their spirits forever entwined in its dark legacy. The more they unearthed, the more questions arose. What had truly happened to the children? Why did the spirits remain? As the night wore on, the atmosphere grew tense. Shadows danced along the walls, and the investigators could feel the energy shifting around them. In a moment of desperation, they held a seance, hoping to connect with the spirits directly. Candles flickered as they gathered in a circle, voices trembling with anticipation. "Is there anyone here who wishes to speak?" One investigator called out into the darkness. Silence enveloped them, thick and oppressive. Then, slowly, a faint whisper broke through the stillness. "Help! Us?" The room erupted into chaos as the investigators scrambled to interpret the message. The chilling realization settled over them. The spirits were reaching out, begging for assistance. But what did they need help with? As the weight of the moment bore down on them, they sensed a presence drawing closer, a feeling of urgency mixed with sorrow. Suddenly, the temperature plummeted again, and a sudden gust of wind extinguished the candles, plunging them into darkness. Panic ensued, and they scrambled to turn on their flashlights, beams cutting through the blackness. The shadows seemed to writhe and twist, and the group could feel the oppressive energy surrounding them. It was in this moment of heightened fear that they heard it, the unmistakable sound of a child's laughter echoing through the room. The investigators stood frozen, hearts pounding in their chests. Was it the ghost boy, beckoning them to follow? With a mix of trepidation and resolve, they ventured further into the depths of the building, guided by the disembodied laughter. They followed the sound down long hallways, through dimly lit rooms, and into a small storage area that had once been a holding space for livestock. As they approached, the laughter faded, replaced by an unsettling silence. In the corner of the room, they discovered a dusty old toy, a small, forgotten doll. As one investigator picked it up, a chill coursed through her. This doll had been left behind, a remnant of the past, yet it seemed to pulse with a strange energy. She could feel it, the sorrow, the longing. Suddenly, the investigators felt the air shift, and a figure emerged from the shadows, the ghost boy. His small form materialized, watching them with wide, innocent eyes. The investigators felt a rush of emotion, a deep desire to understand his plight. "Why are you here?" one of them whispered, their voice barely above a tremor. The child pointed toward the doll, his expression filled with yearning. "Play," he whispered, the sound barely audible yet piercing through the darkness. In that moment, the investigators realized that the ghost boy was not malicious. He was a lost soul, trapped in a world that no longer recognized him. He wanted companionship, a reminder of the joy he had once known. Moved by the encounter, the team decided to leave the doll in the room as a tribute to the spirit. They hoped it would offer him some solace, a connection to the life he had lost. As they turned to leave, they felt a warmth spread through the room, a sense of peace settling in. In the weeks that followed, Bobby Mackey's music world continued to draw paranormal enthusiasts and curious visitors. Each person who entered the venue became part of its ongoing story, sharing their own experiences and encounters with the supernatural. The haunting of Bobby Mackey's music world became a topic of fascination, a reminder that the past never truly fades. It lives on through the stories we tell, the memories we hold, and the spirits that linger, waiting for the moment when they might be understood. Story number 2. Body cam footage, Woodhaven Memorial Hospital. Years later, another footage started making the rounds online. This one was even more disturbing than the first. The following is a transcript of events recorded by security cameras and body-worn equipment at Woodhaven Memorial Hospital on April 12, 2023, along with subsequent investigation findings. All footage has been verified as authentic by multiple independent forensics labs. My name is Marcus Reynolds. I've been a security guard at Woodhaven Memorial for 11 years, and I'm recording this statement because I need someone to know what really happened during my shift on April 12th. The hospital administrators are calling it a system malfunction, but I know what I saw. The footage exists, I made sure of that. It started around 2:15 a.m. I was doing my regular rounds on the 4th floor, which had been closed for renovation since February. The demolition crews had stripped everything down to bare walls, and the only light came from temporary construction lamps that cast long shadows through plastic sheeting. My body cam footage shows me walking the usual route, checking for any signs of trespassers or water leaks. At 2:17 a.m., the temperature dropped suddenly. You can actually see my breath fogging in front of the camera. That's when I heard it, the sound of wheels squeaking on linoleum. The thing is, there wasn't any linoleum left on that floor. It had all been torn up weeks ago. The sound came from the old ICU wing. Standard procedure says to call for backup if you suspect intruders, but I dealt with plenty of homeless people seeking shelter before. I turned down the corridor, and that's when my body cam caught something that forensics still can't explain. In the footage, you can clearly see a hospital bed moving slowly across the exposed concrete floor. There's no one pushing it. More importantly, there's no bed. The renovation crew had removed all furniture months ago. But in my camera's night vision, there it was, rolling past empty doorways. I called out, "Security, anyone there?" My voice echoes in the footage. The bed stopped. The camera shows me approaching slowly, flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. As I got closer, I could make out more details. The bed looked old, probably from the 1960s when this wing was first built. But it wasn't dusty or damaged, it looked like it was still in use. That's when my radio crackled. Through heavy static, I heard a nurse's voice, "Code Blue, ICU room 427. Code Blue." Room 427 had been demolished last month. I watched them tear down the walls myself. The security desk called up immediately, "Reynolds, your radio's acting up. You're broadcasting an old emergency code." That wasn't me, I responded. "I'm hearing it too." The footage shows me turning toward where room 427 used to be. The wall was solid concrete now, but my body cam picked up something the human eye couldn't see, a faint outline of a doorway, glowing slightly in the infrared spectrum. The hospital's security system recorded what happened next from multiple angles. The 4th floor cameras, which hadn't worked since renovation began, suddenly came online. They show me standing in the hallway as the temperature plummeted to 42 degrees Fahrenheit. At 2:24 a.m., all cameras captured a bizarre distortion, like heat waves rising from summer pavement. The empty hospital bed began moving again, this time toward the glowing outline. As it approached, the footage shows what looks like a person gradually appearing on the bed, the image building from nothing, like a printer creating a 3D picture one layer at a time. It was an elderly man, connected to medical equipment that didn't exist anymore. His heart monitor showed a flat line, its phantom beat now audible on my body cam. That's when I noticed something that still haunts me. His hospital ID bracelet showed the date, April 12, 1973. Exactly 50 years ago. The man's eyes opened. They found mine immediately. His mouth moved, forming words that the audio picked up clearly despite being physically impossible. "They told me you'd be here. It's time." 4 different cameras captured what happened next. The glowing outline in the wall became a fully visible doorway, opening into a hospital room that couldn't exist. Inside, I could see medical staff frozen in place, gathered around an empty bed. Their clothes and equipment were from a different era. They were waiting. The old man turned to me again. Every 50 years, he whispered, the walls between then and now get thin. Someone has to guide them through. That's what you're really here for, son. That's what this place chose you for. Before I could respond, my radio crackled again. Code Blue, ICU room 427. But this time, I recognized the voice. It was mine. The footage shows the old man's form becoming transparent as the bed began rolling toward the impossible doorway. As it crossed the threshold, the medical staff in the phantom room began to move. The scene played out like a movie in reverse, their frantic attempts to save a life rewinding until the bed was empty again. The old man was gone, but the doorway remained. Through it, I could see more beds appearing, more patients from different years, all waiting. My radio kept broadcasting codes in different voices, calling out deaths from across 5 decades. The security desk supervisor reported that between 2:24 a.m. and 5:47 a.m., every clock in the hospital displayed 2:24, despite backup power systems functioning normally. During this time, 17 different cameras recorded similar phenomena on various floors, medical equipment from the past appearing and disappearing, patients visible only on camera being guided through glowing doorways by hospital staff both past and present. At 5:47 a.m., everything returned to normal. The doorways vanished, and the cameras showed only empty construction zones. But the footage remained. The hospital administration called it a system-wide technical error and had the security equipment replaced. But they didn't get all the footage. I made copies. More importantly, I checked the hospital records. Every patient I saw that night had died in room 427 over the past 50 years. Each death was recorded at 2:24 a.m. on April 12th, in different years. The strange thing is, most of them were listed as having no family present, except for a note that a staff member had been with them at the end. I've been here 11 years, but I'm not the first. There's always been a guard on that floor, every April 12th, going back to 1973. The logs show different names, but the same story: equipment malfunctions, temperature drops, strange recordings. I finally understand why I always felt drawn to this job, why I never transferred despite better offers. Some places choose their guardians. Not to keep people out, but to help them through. I'll be here next year. The cameras will be watching. And when the walls grow thin again, I'll be ready to guide them home. Addendum: this account was recovered from Marcus Reynolds' digital recorder, found in the security office on April 13, 2023. The reference footage exists but demonstrates significant degradation when copied or transferred. Original files remain in hospital archives, restricted access only. Reynolds continues to work at Woodhaven Memorial. When questioned about the events, he maintains that everything in his recording is true but declines to provide additional details. Hospital records confirm an unusually high number of peaceful passings on April 12 throughout the building's history, with most patients reported to have shown signs of recognition or relief in their final moments. The 4th floor renovation was never completed. The space remains unused, though maintenance staff report occasional equipment malfunctions and unexplained temperature fluctuations near room 427's former location. So, which story is true, and which one is fiction? The answer might surprise you. Both stories are unsettling, but only one of them is based on fact. Well, it turns out that the first story, about Bobby Mackey's music world, is a true story, one that's been documented and verified by multiple sources. The second story, about Marcus Reynolds, is completely fabricated and written by ourselves. But even though one of the stories is fake, it doesn't make it any less disturbing. It's a reminder that our imagination is a powerful tool, one that can create entire worlds and scenarios that are both fascinating and terrifying. So, what do you think? Do you believe in the afterlife, or is it just a myth? Let us know in the comments below. And if you're looking for more videos like this, be sure to check out our channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content exploring the supernatural and the unknown. And if you have a personal experience you'd like to share, be sure to let us know in the comments.